Hi there, this is Ronnie coming at you with the video. I'm going to link to an article I saw yesterday, and the article is entitled "Licensed Role-Playing Games: Threat or Menace" by Christopher Helton, guy I don't know anything about, so I've no idea whether the whether he's actually trying to be sort of facetious or sort of sarcastic, or whether it's a bit of a joke. He's being deliberately sort of provocative. Years ago I sort of touched on licensed projects, but I never really talked about my opinions of them. There have been, over the years, a slew of licensed games, or games based on licenses, more accurately. DC Comics have had a couple of RPGs their way. So have Marvel. Star Trek has had a few. In fact, there's a new one just out. Star Wars has had a few. And there's been all. When the Open Game license came out for D&D 3rd edition in 3.5, suddenly, because of the OGL, everyone and his mother was making games, and a lot of them were licensed projects. We had the Stargate role-playing game. We had the Hercules and Xena role-playing game, for God's sake. Because of the D20 engine. And several, films, comic books, novel series, and so on. I have a couple of licensed projects, licensed games in my collection. Song of Ice and Fire, I've got Dragon Age. I've got the old Star Wars D6. Do I think? I certainly think, certainly in the sort of early 2000s, it was in danger of oversaturation. But such is life. What do I think of licensed sort of products? I don't actually have a problem with them, providing that they satisfy for me two tests. The first test being, is the setting interesting? Is there lots of role-playing potential in that setting? For example, there was a game made by Margaret Weis Productions based on the Leverage TV series. Now, I love that series. And just out of sheer nosiness, I did get the Leverage game on PDF. And I was very underwhelmed by it. I was intrigued to see whether they could pull a game out of it, and I was left very underwhelmed by it. I don't think it survives the first test. The second test is whether the rule system that you use is one that works well. If you can pass both those tests, then go for it. Why should we feel bad about or be dismissive of licensed games? I said this when I touched on this subject years ago, and I'm still surprised, given the popularity of it, that there was never a Harry Potter role-playing game. At the time, I said they probably missed the boat, but with the release of Fabulous Beasts, and there's going to be continuations, and a couple of new books are coming out. I think they're not new stories; they're more looks on the world. Um, I still think there's possible potential there for running games in the Harry Potter world. Which, if you manage to marry it to a decent system, I'm not Fate's biggest fan, but I could see how Fate could be used for Harry Potter. The OGL would probably work well with it. Age, the adventure game engine, might work well with it. Savage Worlds could probably do a good job of it as well. So yeah, I'm a bit surprised by that. Obviously, given that Dragon Age has had a role-playing game based on it, I'm a little surprised by the lack of a Mass Effect tabletop RPG. I think if that does come out, I think Green Ronin are going to get first refusal on it. And given that the Marvel superhero license is up for grabs again, it would be interesting to see if Green Ronin get a hold of that and use the Mutants and Masterminds 3rd edition rules for Marvel. That could be interesting because they use that same rule set for DC Adventures, and so you could realistically, without having to do any sort of conversions, you could have a system of Superman versus Thor. That'd be a fun one. Superman versus Hulk. There's an interesting one. So yeah, it's kind of a quick video on this one. Just asking, how do people feel about licensed products? Do they regard them with disdain? Do you regard them? Do you think that they can be a good thing? Going back to Harry Potter, one of the reasons why I'm surprised is I think if you marry it to a good, simple system, you could get an awful lot of new role players in, because the catchment of Harry Potter fans that you could get is enormous. You could do so much good work with that. So yeah, it's always an interesting one, the whole thing about licensed products, and I'd be interested in people's views. So yep, quick video from me, and I'll be back soon with another video.